I've always been very aware of spirituality and always had a belief in the afterlife. My mother's family lived near a graveyard, and my mother told us stories of when she was younger, and they'd be walking by the graveyard, and they swore they'd see somebody jumping up from behind the graves, and perhaps she thought it might be the cousins, but they were never sure. And there was always this understanding that the people who are related to us, our ancestors, especially if you spend time near the graveyard of your ancestors or in the home where the families had lived for years and years and years, generations past, that there'd be some sense of those people in the home. And as I grew older, I watched movies and television programs such as North of 60, and movies about China, which just proved that many belief systems and many generational groupings and family groupings and just structures of people acknowledged the spirituality around them and among them, and how important it is to maintain that, especially as you start to learn about eternity and finally understand it. When you reach the point, I don't know if it really is your 40th year or the 40th year of your right hand, or of your advisors under God, or someone you're close to, and you start to see eternity and see that families have messages and have been given things and have had opportunities that you can feel in your subconscious. If you explore your subconscious and talk your subconscious and consider your subconscious and focus on your subconscious and just focus on your dreams and the places you seem to be, and if you're willing to be there, or the things you feel that you've worked at, to try and explain your family's message for God, God's message for His world. And a few years ago, I had a friend who I was standing talking to somewhere, and he showed me that there was a voice of a woman, a girl, next to his ear, and I thought he was indicating to me, I guess in heaven, you can sort of sense these things, that it was my voice, my spiritual voice, but I was right in front of him, and I knew it wasn't my voice. I didn't recognize it, but I couldn't think who it might be. So it didn't sound like anyone else who I knew who was a key person to him. And the more I've been thinking about living in a person's home and staying in the person's home, and I had written about this years and years and years ago without thinking of his example, because I hadn't thought of, our children growing up in the same way, and getting to know their voices as we get older and hear their voices now, and how often some of the messages that he and I at least were acknowledging to hear outside of our ear, besides, the annoying voice of the right-wing Zeppelin pilot coming through the wall, how many of the voices and the feelings that we get are coming from our children who come back to their homes where we are, where they can guarantee we are when they're out spiritually, or they're lying out under God, or they really are somewhere else and something's happening and they know that we might be able to stop it or have some say, and they use their eternity, they're up to God and back down because they know where we are and where they can find us, and how dangerous it is if we lose that ability to communicate with our eternity for God in this world that is so quickly pushing God aside and not even noticing it.